All right, everyone. I'm Ed Rodriguez, and I'm sitting down with Average Joe's Gaming Podcast. We're gonna learn how to play the Animus draft building game, and we have Joe and Tom, who are going to be the guinea pigs as we learn to play this. Joe and Tom, if you want to say hi to everybody. Or not. I can't hear you.
Tom just Mickey Mouse.
What?
All right.
What?
He said you can say hi if you like.
I can't hear a darn thing. I wasn't hearing anything. Sorry.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
All right. I'm gonna. Hello. All right. Well, we're getting together today with Average Joe's Gaming with Joe and Tom, and I'm Ed Rodriguez, and we're going to be learning how to play the Animus draft building game. I'm going to be sort of teaching, and Joe and Tom are going to learn and play against each other. As I talked to you guys before recording, the rule book is on the table there, and I'm gonna try to just go in order of the rule book so I don't go off on tangents. Starting on page 1 is just the cover. On page 2, we just have sort of the intro to the game and the content. The one thing that I always like to tell people first is what the objective of the game is. Well, it's a right now we're going to be playing 2 players, but you can play up to 4 players. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be battling against the other players, and you're trying to kill 10 points worth of the enemy's characters, and we'll explain how that goes. Optionally, another way you could win it is if the other player basically has nothing in play, no cards in hand in their deck or field. But generally 10 points, and that's how you win. All right. Let's go into the next page here, and the next page talks about the anatomy of a card. Now, there's technically 2 cards in the game, but really there's only one type of card that you need to learn, which is the character cards. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a character card, or actually we could just look at the rule book here, but I'll put it right next to the rule book and you can zoom in on that. And let me adjust the camera here. So the very first thing you're going to see in the upper left hand corner is a big number. Well, that's not a resource cost. Unlike Magic, there's no having to pay for cards to put them in play. Literally, you're going to be able to put whatever you want in play. But this number is the Animus level of the card. It gives you an idea of the overall strength level of the card and its value when defeated. So a level 3 card is worth more and is generally a bit more powerful than, say, a level 1 card. However, level 1 cards still can fight against level 3 cards very easily. Their stats are still going to be relatively close to each other. It's more measuring their special ability, which is their text box. So a card with a value of just 1, their text box effect is usually kind of situational or maybe even luck based, whereas and so that's not always useful, whereas a level 3 card, it's almost always going to be useful or very, very powerful. So that's the Animus level, is the big number at the top. The next thing you're going to see, if you pan down from there, you're going to see a big icon, and that's the Animus type. That's the type that this card is. They have names to them. There's power, talent, and skill, but you don't have to memorize that. You literally, all you need to do is just, can you recognize the shape and its color? Red, blue, and green are the only 3. And this is the big one, is the type that your card is. So in the rulebook here, you see this Ninian here. She's the red type, which is power, and Brick over here on this card, he's the blue type. And that's all it is. Just tells you what type they are. The smaller one underneath it tells you what type that card is good against. Right? So Brick here, he has an advantage in battle when he's going up against a red card. Ninian, on the other hand, has an advantage in battle when she's going up against green cards. So they have a rock, paper, scissors relationship. There's 3 types, and each one's going to be good against another and not so good against the other. All right, and I'll explain when we get to combat. I'll explain, what those advantages are. And then panning down, we have two numbers. We have the upper number is a melee value, and the lower one is a flank value. You're going to use those in combat. If you look at on the board, you see that there's positions here. There's one melee, two flank positions, and two support positions. So depending where your card is in combat, they're going to use one of those two stats. All right, and we'll get into detail in a minute. Then of course you have the character's name in the middle, which is just flavor, and then you have their effect text box. And that's one of the more important things. It's going to tell you what that card does. Now in this game, every single card is going to have a unique effect, right? And they're going to function in very different ways. Some of them may be somewhat similar, but they'll still function in different ways. The first word of the text box tells you how that effect triggers or whatnot, and it's generally in plain English. So if you look over here, Ninian, hers says play. So that's very simple. Whenever you play this card, you get to do that effect, right? Whereas Brick over here, his says reaction, where he's going to react to something, and then the text box tells you what it is. So in this case, he says whenever one of your cards receive damage, you may assign that damage to this card instead. So there's no thematic keywords to memorize. They're in plain English, and I think they're mostly self-explanatory. I'll go into details of some more of them in a bit. So that's basically the makeup of a card. And then at the very bottom, there's some flavor text that you can read. It's just a little backstory about the character, but nothing you need to worry about for learning the game. All right, so that's the character cards. Moving on to page, that was page 3. Page 4 is the drafting, but let's skip ahead a little bit. Actually, we're gonna go to I'm pressing the wrong button here. Entities. So these large cards, I'm gonna grab them over here. These very large cards are entity cards, and they're even simpler than the player's cards. You're gonna be getting 2 of them at the beginning of the game, but you're gonna choose which one you want to play as, and they don't really have any stats to worry about. They just have a text box, and they're gonna basically have a power that is usable throughout the game. So for instance, this unspeakable entity guy right here, he has a reaction ability. After one of your cards is killed, place 1 damage on the card that killed it. All right, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We have the Fallen Angel here. Hers is also a reaction. Once per turn, when one of your cards receive damage and would be killed, you remove that damage to another of your cards instead. All right, so just like the character cards, each of these is gonna do something different. The difference is that most of them, they're gonna work throughout the game. The one that's different is Lilith. Hers is actually a once per game thing, but that's because it's very, very powerful. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the backs of the cards function as reference cards, since several of them are not going to be in play while we're playing. All right, so that's the makeup.
You mentioned that Tom cannot have Lilith.
Okay, Tom cannot have Lilith.
So the first card I draw then is Lilith.
It's gonna be Lilith. Watch that. Yeah, watch that happen. Yeah. All right, so we'll put that there. So that's the makeup of the cards. All right. So generally, the first thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get 2 entities, and we'll walk through all that. I'll just do the quick explanation first. You're gonna get 2 entities. You're gonna pick one, and then we go into the drafting. So let's say, for sake of argument, let's say this is kind of cool. I'm gonna put this in your hand, and and this is just for demo. This is not the one you're gonna have for the game. So place, actually I did that wrong. Let me reset here. I did that a little bit wrong. You guys should stay in your same spots. Okay, so if I hit start game here, boom, boom, this puts 2 guys. Don't worry about picking it. This is just for demo purposes. Just take one of them.
Oh no, I wanna pick.
No. I have some more stuff to teach you. Just grab one of them and put it face down in the entity's position in front of you.
How do you grab again?
just left click with the mouse or the button for you on the laptop, and you want to flip it face down before you put it there.
Okay.
Ooh. See that cool scripting? So what it just did is set up the drafting, because in this game you're going to be drafting your deck of 9 cards. Now you notice there was I should have shown this, but there were 36 cards in the deck, so there's 36 cards that come in every core set of Animus, but we're only drafting 18 of them because each player is going to have 9 cards. So every time you play, you're only using about half of the card. Well, you're using exactly half the cards that are available, so it's always going to be different. And then when you add more core sets later, that's going to actually add to the variety. All right, and then the way the drafting is going to work is you're gonna each roll 2 dice, and then whoever rolls a higher total is basically player 1 for the game. All right, so player 1 gets to draft first. You can only draft a card that's face up and has no other cards on top of it. So initially, if Tom was drafting, he can only take one of these 3 cards that is up top. And you can sort of ignore the others, although the others that are face up, you're allowed to read them and see what they do, so you can sort of plan ahead. But when you're first learning, it's just a little bit more beneficial to just look at the ones that you're able to get. And then let's say, for sake of argument, Tom decides to take Vari here and puts it aside. He's drafted that card. Now the cards that you draft do stay face up. Your opponent is allowed to reference what you've taken, because they may want to counter pick. Whenever a face down card, it has nothing on top of it, it will get to be flipped face up, and lets you see what's coming up next. Before I forget, the player that drafts second, their first draft, they'll get to pick 2 cards in a row. That's to make up for the fact that they have very little input on the first player's first pick, and that'll make sense when we're going. So essentially, you're gonna take that, and then let's say Joe goes and he'll take this one here. It'll reveal another one, and he could take that one if he wanted, whatever, and you keep going like that, and then you just keep drafting back and forth. Always remembering you want to leave the other cards visible to the other players so they can decide what they want. But let's say I just quickly just put these like that. But eventually you're gonna have all of these. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All of these are gonna get drafted. There's not gonna be any remainders. All right, and then you're gonna have your deck. I'm not counting them out. I'm just doing for demonstration purposes. So you're gonna have your deck. You're gonna put it in. You have a position for your deck over here. And then to start the game, you're gonna draw 4 cards, and you're gonna get to put one on the bottom of your deck. So you can it's sort of a mulligan rule. But don't worry about that. I'll walk you through when we're there. All right, so how does a turn go? Well, if we look at the player reference, the first thing you have on your turn is the start phase. Some cards may have an ability that it'll say start, and it triggers at the start of your turn, but generally not much happens at the start of your turn. It's just saying, hey, I'm starting my turn. All right, then you have the most important thing is you have a tactical phase. You actually have 2 tactical phases. If you've played Magic, this is gonna be familiar. It's like a main phase. So on your turn, you're gonna have a tactical phase, then you're gonna go into combat phase, and then you have another tactical phase. On your tactical phase, there's 3 main things that you're gonna be able to do. You can play a card, you can switch around the cards that you have in play, or you can do something called a resetting a card. You can do any one of those things once per turn. You can do all 3 once per turn. You can only do one of them if you want, however, and you can do them in whatever order you want, but just remember it's always once per turn. So let's say you have these 3 cards here. Oops, I'm tossing cards all over the place here. And let me just zoom in on that. So let's say this was the player's hand, and it's his turn. He decides, okay, he's gonna take Zen, and he wants to put it into play. Now, all you gotta do when you're playing a card, this is the play action. You just take whatever card you want, and you put it into play. There are a few rules to that, though. You notice you have this melee section. You have 2 flank positions and 2 support positions. When you first put a card into play, it must go as further up as possible. So the melee position must be filled first before you can put anything anywhere else. So if Zen is the first card I'm playing, I have to put it into the melee position. All right, there's no choice in there. And in fact, if you start your turn with no cards in play, you have to play a card. Other than that, you do not have to play a card, but you almost always want to. Alright, so melee is the first one you want to fill. Also notice that a number appeared here below the card. That is the life points of the card. Every single card in the game has a life point of 3 unless its text tells you otherwise. But generally 3 damage and a card dies. But we'll get into damage in a moment. Alright, so that's the play action. You take a card, you put it into play. On a later turn, let's say the same player wants to put another into play, he can take this Project 14 and put it into either one of the flank positions that he wants, either left or right. And it'll become apparent, you know, which side you want later on. Your third card eventually, now you'll have a choice. You can either put it into the other flank position there, or you could put it into the support position behind the flank. All right, now why do these positions matter? Well, what they do is they determine where your cards can attack or be attacked from. So if we have a situation like this, actually let me fill just all the slots here. Let's say we have a full board of cards here. Alright, and let's say it's Justice's turn here, and she decides she wants to attack with Zen versus Brick. Well, from Zen's position, Zen can do a melee attack. In fact, melee position is the only time you can do melee. He can do a melee attack versus the opposing melee guy. So Zen can melee with Brick, right? They're basically the upfront point man. All right, so they can do a melee attack against each other, and I'll explain how attacks function in a moment. But that's the option, melee against him. However, Zen can choose to use his flank stat to do a flank attack versus the 2 flank positions across from him. All right, so your melee guy actually has 3 different targets that they can hit. All right, they can either do a melee or one of 2 flank position attacks. And they're going to use the stat depending on what type of attack it is. So melee for melee, flank for flank. All right, so your melee guy has the most options. Your 2 flank guys are a little bit more limited. They can't do a melee attack. They can only do a flank attack. But they can do the flank attack versus the flank position across from them. So Fizz here could attack Sasha right across. Or your flank can also do a flank attack to the melee position, but it still counts as a flank attack. So if Fizz here decides she wants to attack Brick, she will be using her flank stat versus his flank stat. Alright? Makes sense? It should be pretty self-explanatory. So your flank guys have basically 2 options, either directly across or attack the melee guy. Your support guys back here, they cannot attack at all. Right? And generally they can't be attacked, although there are cards that break those rules. But their effect box is always active, so you can use their special ability if it's applicable at that point. So like for instance, Gale here, if I played her to the support position, although she can't attack, she will still get her play ability there. Alright. Some cards like Fizz here actually likes being in support position. And you'll have to read each card and see. So that is how combat works. And let me make sure that I didn't skip anything. Well, that's positions, not how combat works. Let's see here. We did the drafting. That's the setup. So during your first tactical phase, that's playing a card, playing it to one of those positions, and those are the reasons why. The other thing you can do in your tactical phase is you can switch cards around. Switches require 2 cards they always require 2 cards, and it's basically taking 2 of your cards and switching them. So if I want Brick and Dark Moon to switch positions here, I can announce it to the other player, hey, I'm performing a switch. Brick is moving to Dark Moon's position, and vice versa. So those two can switch. You can only switch if they're adjacent to each other. So melee with a flank, or a flank with a support. All right, you can do that, but you cannot mix. Like Dark Moon and Brick here can't switch if they're in this position, right? That's skipping a step there. Your cards can switch across though, so your flank and other flank can switch with each other if you have cards in those positions. Okay, and your support guys can also switch as well with each other. All right, so that's switching, and you can do that once per turn. Lastly, the other option you have is you can reset a card. Resetting a card is from your hand. So when you have cards in your hand, let's say that this is this player's hand, and let's say their deck was over here. Once per turn, you can take any card from your hand and put it and reset it, which means putting on the bottom of your deck. So if I had Savage in my hand here and I was like, you know what, I don't really need them for the board right now, I'd rather draw something else. So you can flip them over and place them on the bottom of your deck. All right, and why would you want to do that? Well, it frees up a spot in your hand because later on at the end of your turn, you're gonna draw up to your hand size. So by resetting that card, that will let you draw more cards. So it's a way to sort of cycle through your deck. There are some cards that also have effects if they get reset, so something to keep in mind. So that's the tactical phase: play a card, switch cards, or reset a card. Do them in any order that you want. Then we have the combat phase. The combat is when your cards actually can, start attacking each other. When you're in your combat phase, every single one of your cards can attack once each. They can attack in whichever order you choose, and again, you can kind of pick and choose who they're attacking. The way combat works is very simple. Let's say Zen here wants to do a melee attack against Dark Moon. He's gonna announce it. Hey, Zen's attacking Dark Moon, and the attacker's gonna roll a die, and he's gonna add it to whatever stat that he's using. So I rolled a 5 there. Zen will add it to his 5 that he's already using because it's a melee attack. So he would have a 10 total. Dark Moon here would also roll a 6-sided die and add it to his stat there. All right, and he rolled a 3, but his melee is not so good. It's just a 2, so he only has a 5 total. So Zen would have won that combat. When the loser takes a damage, so he would go from 3 health down to 2. In the physical card game, you actually count the opposite way. You're putting tokens on them to count it, so you count up. But for Tabletop Simulator, we count down. So he would take a damage. It does not matter how much you lose by, whether you lost by 1 point or 5 points, it's 1 damage. However, there are some cards that may change that, as many card games. All right, so now you may feel like, well, that's kind of swingy luck. You're just relying on the d6. Well, this is where the types comes into play, and you have the advantage system. So for instance here, in this particular case, Dark Moon has an advantage versus red cards. So in this case, he would have actually been able to roll a second die, and you get to pick. So he rolled a 3 or a 4. So he could have picked either one and used that for his stat, although even taking the 4 would not have been enough because Zen's melee is just so much more than his. So that was an uphill battle either way. But anyway, the point to remember is when you have advantage, you get to roll 2 dice in combat, but you can only keep 1. All right, and most of the time you're gonna take the higher value, but there are some slight cases that you want a tie. For instance, a tie, if the let me back up a second. The winner deals 1 damage to the loser, right? So in every combat, somebody's gonna take damage. If they happen to tie, like if the totals are tied, then both cards will take a damage. All right, so just remember that pretty much in every combat, somebody's gonna take some damage. So there's always that little risk and reward thing here. If a card gets killed in combat, so let's say Darkmoon was fighting here and he happened to go down to 0 health, he immediately goes to the discard pile. And you're going to notice when you put your cards in the discard, there's a little counter here, counts up your Animus level points. Once you get to 10, you lose, so you don't want that. Immediately, once a slot is open, even if it's in the middle of combat, a card has to shift up to take that position. It's not considered an action. It's not considered a switch. It's just has to move up there. So if I was playing as Lilith here, I would have to move one of my 2 cards here. Let's say I choose Zen. Zen moves up, which would also mean that Brick here will also have to move up. All right, so you never have blank spaces in between the characters. All right. And that's pretty much combat. You can choose what order you attack with, you can choose which cards attack, and there's no requirement to have to attack. All right, although you usually want to, but there's no absolute requirement for that, unless a card says otherwise. And then that's combat. Then we go into a second tactical phase. This is when you can do those once per turn things if you haven't done them already. So most of the time you're going to want to play a card before combat, because your cards can attack as soon as they come into play. There's no waiting or anything like that. So if I played Sasha here, she can be played, do her effect, and attack immediately that turn. There's no waiting or like that. So generally you may want to play before combat, but you could do it afterwards if you wanted. So that's the tactical phase, tactical phase. Then you have your draw phase. This is pretty much after you've done everything on your turn, is your draw phase, and it's very simple. You're just gonna refill your hand. Your hand size is 3. So if I'm only down to 1 card in my hand, I'm gonna draw 2 cards. And then I end my turn and it goes to the next player. During after the draw phase is very simple, is the end phase, and the end phase is just literally ending your turn. Can I switch this here? Your end phase is when the victory points are checked. All right, so it is possible that you could, in the middle of your turn be at 10 points, but if you can finish out the turn and have the other player 10 points, then you can sort of force an overtime. So the victory points aren't checked to the end phase of the turn, and that's a little bit important. All right, and then the rulebook is just here going into detail on what the tactical phases are, which I already did. And I think that's pretty much it for things you have to know. There are let's go into the effects of the cards. That's the effects of the card, the keywords. So infused, I don't think there's any cards in this set, but there's some cards that will say ban a card. So if a card gets banned, it's removed from the game. I don't think we're gonna need to worry about that too much. Oh, some cards will have a combat ability. Let's see if I can find one. So Project 14 here. See this card here, if you zoom in on that, Project 14 has a combat ability. Well, that doesn't mean that, means a couple things. First, you can only do that during the combat phase, but that card can do that effect instead of attacking. So hers in particular says combat. While in support position, this card may make a flank attack to any position. So she's sort of breaking the rule there that support cards can't attack. So if a let me show you another one. There's another one that if we search here, I know exactly the one I'm about. So this Radalexian card here, if I zoom in, that he has a combat ability where he removes 1 damage from him. So you could have that guy be up in like melee position or flank position, and you can choose during your combat phase, instead of attacking, he's gonna just use his combat ability to do that effect. Cards can do their combat ability even from the support position, because remember I mentioned that their effect text is still valid even if they can't normally attack. So that's where Project 14 is able to do her thing. So there's a combat keyword. We also have, there's a bunch of keywords. They're all pretty self-explanatory. There's the death keyword, that is just when that card dies, it does the effect. Some cards say kill. That means if they kill something, they do that effect. Some cards will say ongoing if it's an ongoing effect, and so on. The one I do really want to cover, because people often get this a little bit wrong, is this one that I drew here, Lixia. Lixia has a reset ability. This effect only happens whenever this card gets reset for whatever reason. Now remember, I told you once per turn you can reset a card, so you can choose this card to reset, and then you'll be able to get this effect. But remember, you can reset any card once per turn for free. Just this one here happens to get a effect when you do that. A card that resets because of its ability, you have to show it to your opponent. Otherwise, normally you don't show. If you're resetting any old card into the bottom of your deck, you don't have to show it. But if it has a reset ability, you do have to show it to your opponent. And that's pretty much it. So I say we just jump right in and have at it. All right. Is everything loaded for you guys?
Looks like it.
All right. So
Yeah, looks good.
We're gonna hit start game there, and then you can see him now, right?
Yep.
All right, flip it over. Is that the one you want to be?
Yep.
All right, so go ahead, put it into your entity section, and then this other one we're gonna flip it, and then we're gonna put that one away, right? Because that's the one you're not gonna use. So hover over it, hit F. And then move it, click and hold, drag it over to the entity section.
Yep.
All right, so it sets up the draft. Meanwhile, we'll take this other card that you're not going to play as and put it there. So we have the Fallen Angel versus Lilith here. All right. Do you have any? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions on how your card works? I think they're pretty self-explanatory.
I do. I'm just curious, why is Chom cheating already?
Oh yeah. You see him? He wrote all over the table over here. There.
Oh my
No,
goodness, I
monster.
sure did.
Yeah, I don't know. He was like
Gonna
ritual
erase
summoning
that.
or something there.
Yeah.
I actually do
go.
not know how to erase that. There's probably a way. Oh, there's a eraser
There is an
tool.
erase button, but yeah.
All right, we're not gonna worry about that too much. Okay, so each of you click the dice spawner thing, hit it twice, add your total together, and whoever rolls higher will be the start player of the game. It will be player 1. You can roll another die for Hulk over there. Blue should roll another die. There you go. So 10. So I think Red, you're going first. You're the first player. So you're going to draft first, which means the other player will draft 2 in a row. So right now your options are one of these 3: Sasha, Neutrino, or Gale. And if you have any questions on how the card plays, let me know.
I just move that over to here.
Yeah, I would put it like just right over here in this. There's no dedicated section, but I would put it somewhere where the other player can actually see if he needs to. So then that makes this one here flip over, and that is Fade Black Raven there. So now I keep getting the names wrong. So Tom, you're blue.
I'm red.
Okay, so Joe, you have 2 picks in a row. And you have 3 options here. You have Fade, Neutrino, or Gale. Alright, he takes Fade there. And he takes Project 13. Also, I always think of this too late. A little bit of a sort of pro tip. You generally want to draft slightly more cards that have a better flank. You notice the cards have they're usually going to be better in one of their attack stats than the other. So you want slightly more cards that are better in flank than melee, because you have 2 flank positions but only 1 melee. So you'll be doing flank a little bit more often than melee. So just a little tip there. And pay attention to the types. When I draft, I generally try to have like 3 of each color, but you can kind of draft in however you want. But anyway, it's back to
now?
Who's next now? Is it Tom's pick?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So you have one. Now it's gonna be 1 pick each. And Tom, you have a choice of either these 2 here, or you have Florelia also is available here. Basically, anything face up with no card on top of it, you can draft. Alright, takes Florelia over there. Alright, so it means Joe, you only have an option of one of these 2 cards. So you can see you can manipulate the draft in such a way to kind of force the other players into certain picks. Takes Neutrino. Neutrino is a very, very good card. Flips over a new card there, Blaze. Alright, he'll take Blaze. Takes Krizia there? Alright, yeah. That's a very good frontline card. Alright, flips over Elixir here.
Just love the artwork in this.
Thank you. We spent a lot of time trying to make the characters interesting, unique, and hopefully memorable. Alright. Elixir is one of my favorite cards to play with because its ability is really, really good. Alright, so he forced, is that Joe or Tom? Having to take, there was only 1 pick there, Gale, which is not a bad card. Alright, so it flips 2 cards.
Tom's a monster.
Ooh, both these cards are pretty good. Mythia is a little bit more of a pro player's card, or a player that knows the game a little bit better. But Brick is quite awesome as well.
Ooh, that is kind of good.
I mean, there's almost no bad cards in the game. I mean, there are no bad. They're all designed to be, pretty good on their own, and even better when you can figure out little combos with them. But don't forget, this one gets flipped over here. Now, you can't take that one because you're just trying to.
I'm just trying to figure out what they are. Ooh.
You can't do that.
It's not what I was trying to do.
Remember, the Alt key will let you zoom in without moving the card.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, is move the... There we go. Well,
I stand by my original statement when I said he was a monster.
Well,
oops.
There we go. Somebody got forced into just taking Brick.
So I believe you left me with the option of Brick.
Yeah, that's
I did.
One. That's a great card, so it's not the worst thing.
Decide here. Your pick, Joe.
Okay, so we take one last card.
Yeah, one last card each. Oops. Forces that one to the other player.
That's the one I wanted.
Oh, according to plan. All right. So now that you've drafted, you're gonna take your cards. They're all over the place, but you can actually drag and highlight them and hit G, which groups them. Where's the others? Try to help you guys out here. So 9 cards there. So you're gonna group up your cards. Okay. Help you here a little bit. There's a little bit of growing pains learning the controls of it. But once you get it, it's so you're gonna put them in your deck section there. Oops, I'm gonna grab one there.
Okay.
And then I'll go ahead and shuffle them up for you, which is the R key. So shuffle, 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 shuffle. Now, with your mouse over your deck, press the number 4, and that will draw 4 cards into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Not working?
Nope.
All right. And then hold on. I will deal. Where's the deal? Deal to red. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
All right. So, of these 4 cards, you're gonna choose one of them that you don't want for a while, and you're gonna put it face down on the bottom of your deck, and then you'll have your starting hand. So generally, I usually try to have one of each color is what I go for, because you don't know what the other player's gonna play. But Tom, can you see the cards in your hand?
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird. Some of them are hidden. I'm the game master, so I'm supposed to be able to see everything, and some are hidden from me and some aren't, which is a bit odd, but oh well. So there's no turn order for this. Just, pick which one you think you're not going to need for a while,
And what do you? How do you just drag it back to your deck?
Yeah, you before you pull it out of your hand, I would flip it over just so that the other player can't see it.
Okay.
Oh, that's what's happening. Because yours are there we go. All right. Actually, you want to put it on the bottom. Hold on, I'll help you.
Okay. How do you do that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you literally just got to move the other deck like that.
Okay, that works.
All right. So now you have your starting hand here, and we're waiting for the other player. And who was player 1? Player 1 was. Remember, you want to put it on the bottom of your deck. I'll help you. All right. So now you have a little bit of knowledge. You know that's on the bottom of your deck. Okay, so red player will be player 1. So you're gonna start off. It's the start of your turn. There's no effects, so we go right into your first tactical phase. Because you have no cards in play, you have to play a card. And I would recommend. Well, I think the option here is pretty easy. If it makes sense to you.
This guy.
Yeah. Well, because of this, because he has a better melee stat, so you kind of want him up in the melee position. That's kind of his intent. So you're gonna click and drag.
Get
working. There you go. And put him right in melee.
Get him over there. There we go.
There you go. All right. So he has Grimblade. This card deals 1 extra damage in combat if the combat totals are equal. So he does extra damage on ties. Now. Technically, and that's it. You can't do a switch or anything like that. You can do a reset if you want, but probably not a reason to right now. And technically he can attack during his combat phase, but there's nothing to attack, so you would pretty much just end your turn and go to your end phase. However, you may want, I don't know, it's up to you if you want to reset a card or not. I would recommend not resetting this one yet. You want to save that.
It is reset. Is that where you put it on the bottom of the deck?
Yeah, you get to put it on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I want to reset. So
yeah, I think there's reasons for you to keep it like this right now. So, all right. So then we're going to your end phase, and your end phase is you're gonna refill your hand back up to 3 cards. So since you only have 2, you're gonna just draw one. Just click it or slide it. Click and click. Is it just click or yeah? Click and you do a quick swipe, and that puts it to your hand.
Nope, that didn't work. Let's try it again. I'll try it again. Okay.
There.
Thank you.
Yeah, try it again.
All right, let me try.
There you go.
That did it.
Because if you do it slowly, it grabs the whole deck, and then we're gonna make sure that's visible. All right, and now we go to the other player's turn. He already knows what he's doing, so he's gonna play the Radalexian here, who is good against red, which is what Grimblade is. Oh, you just put him here. And then, do you want to attack with him? Well, before you do that, there's no cards you can switch with, so you won't be able to do a switch. Is there any card that you would want to reset? Probably not. Not really. You can choose to reset later.
No.
Anyway. Yeah, you can do the reset later if you want. Anyway, so now the question is, do you want to attack? I would probably say so, because even though it's a 4 versus 4, you have 2 dice versus his 1 die. All right, so attacker rolls first. So Radalexian, you roll 2 dice, and you don't really have to wait. You can roll your 1 die. What was that? A 5 and a.
I can't tell what I'm rolling.
You rolled a 5 and a 2. Blue rolled a 5 and a 2. He's probably gonna want the 5. Red, you rolled a 2. So a 2 plus 4 is 6. So Grimblade has a 6 total. And Radalexian, what you get? If you take your 5, you have 9. So you win. You would win that combat.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So this guy should be at 2 health. All right. So he took a damage. Boom. All right. Okay. And that was the attack. Radalexian attacked. Did his attack. And then you go into your, do you want, we're in your second tactical phase, so you can choose to switch cards or reset a card or just draw back up and end your turn, which is probably just draw at this point. All right, and then we go back to the other player's turn. Oh, why did this card that's weird. Alright, so we go into your second turn, and there's no start of turn effects. So do you want to play? You pretty much probably want to play a card. And yep. Another thing I didn't show you guys. Now, why is it doing that? That's weird. If you hover over, hover over red guy, hover over Grimblade with your mouse. It's not doing it. That's weird. Are the other cards highlighting for you?
Yeah,
they are.
Maybe it's not used to having a game master in the game, because they should be highlighting. The highlights will automatically tell you if they have advantage or not, but we won't worry about that too much. Alright, so you put Lixie here, and she's good against green type, which doesn't really, actually, this is not a good play right here, for a couple of reasons. One, her reset ability only works when you reset her from your, well, usually only works from your hand. And mind you, his character here is good against red cards, which is what she is. So I would say, for training purposes, if you put this one, although this affects everything. It would benefit you, and you would have a good. Oh, actually, no, I'm lying. That's a blue card. Well, yeah. I'll let you sort of figure it out yourself.
Now, let me look here. Well, actually,
just remember his card is a blue one, which right now has an advantage versus your red one. So a green one is what you would want versus his, but you know, depending what you have, I'll let you decide what you want to do.
I lost you vocally. I didn't hear what you said there. So.
Ideally, you would want a green card to battle against his blue one there.
Which would be this one, right? That's not green.
No.
Never mind.
I think your best bet might be this one here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Because for reasons, these are actually a little bit better in your hand for now.
Yeah.
All right, so he played Sasha. She has a play ability: remove 1 damage from all cards in play. So that would affect all cards, but since the Radalexian is not damaged, then it heals up Grimblade there. For some reason, it's not registering as Grimblade is in play. Let me try something. Actually, might be because I put it into play. Drag and drop them from your hand into play.
Okay.
That might be what happened. I think I put them into play earlier. All right. Now, when you hover over them, is anything highlighting?
No.
It should be. Oh, yeah. Well, probably the scripting for it broke. Anyway, he is at full health because she healed him. All right. Now, you've done playing. You can switch cards around if you want. I don't see a reason for you to do that right now.
No, I don't see any either.
And then one or both of your cards can choose to attack the Radalexian if you wish.
I would attack with that guy. So
Which one?
Roll dice or
who Grimblade is going to attack the Radalexian. Now, if you do that, remember your stats are tied, so you're relying on the dice, and he's going to have 2 dice versus your 1. So that might not be a good attack to do. However, Sasha here has a 4 in her stat versus his 2, because he'd have to use his flank. There's no die advantage, there's no type advantage, so it'd be 1 die each, but you have a 4 versus 2. So I would definitely recommend Sasha attacking the Radalexian there.
So I would attack with them.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll the die.
And that's just click.
Yep. There you go.
I can't see what I rolled because it's just impossible to read.
It should show up in the chat down at the bottom. So you roll a 1, unfortunately. So you have a 5.
Okay.
So you have a 5. So you need a blue needs a 3 or better to at least to tie it. He also rolled a 1. So a 5 versus 3 means the Radalexian takes a damage. So we're going to click that down. And it's still your combat phase, but we already decided that Grimblade's probably not a good attack there. So we would just let that go. And no reason. I don't think you want to reset right now. And I don't think you want to switch. So I would just say end your turn and then draw up your hand. Now, it is possible to go above your hand size. There are some weird situations where that might happen. There's nothing wrong with that. But you generally don't draw more than your hand size. Alright, okay. So we got a blue player's turn. What are we going to do? Alright, he plays Fade Black Raven, who deals 2 damage. He rolls a 6 on the combat die and wins.
Ha!
He basically can do critical strikes if he's lucky. But he's not very good at flank.
He attack Tom's main melee person?
Yes, he can do a flank attack. Fade can do a flank attack versus Grimblade. They would both be using their flank stat, which is 2, but Fade has advantage versus red, so he would roll 2 dice versus 1. So although he's not that great in flank in this particular case, it seems pretty good. Remember, Blue, you click when you're rolling 2 dice, just click it twice in succession, and it'll roll them together.
I rolled a 5.
All right, so 5 plus 2 is 7, and he got well, both your 3, so you got a 5 total. So Grimblade actually wins that. So Fade will take a damage.
Yes.
Okay.
I said that Tom was a monster.
Yeah. All right, and I'm pretty sure Red Alexian probably wants to attack since he has a advantage as well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and click it. Click the die twice in a row. There you go. Let's see. So Red got 2. You're probably gonna take the 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8, and 4 and 2 is 6, so Grimblade will take a damage there. And I think that's it. You can choose to switch
yes.
if you want. You can reset if you want. Right, she's gonna draw. No, you should only draw 1. Alright. Alright, we go to your turn over here. How come you have 6? How come you have 4 cards in your hand? You should only have. You don't draw at the beginning of your turn. Always at the end of your turn.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. That just sort of happened.
That's all right.
I didn't touch anything. That's the weird part. So.
Oh, all right. Maybe you might have pressed sometimes if your mouse is over the deck and if you hit a number key, it will draw that amount of cards. All right. So anyway, it's Red's turn.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a question. If I wanted to use the card that I'm hovering over right now,
Yeah.
how does that work?
That ability is pretty much most of the time is only gonna work from your hand. Remember I said you can reset a card once per turn. So if you do it with that happens.
Okay. But
otherwise, once she's in play, she's not. Most times her effect text is not gonna matter. It's not gonna do anything.
Okay. So what I'm asking, I guess, is I can move somebody out into my flank if I want to, right? And do the reset of combat, or would it be combat first, or how does that work? That's, I guess, what I'm wondering.
If you want to use this effect, you're gonna need to reset that card. So you can choose. Remember, you can do that once per turn for free with any card. So you can do that with this card, show it, and then do the effect.
Yeah, because
I'm assuming because you
want
want
to do it now, but I just.
Yeah, you can do it before or after combat. Although you might want to save that to do. If you do that with this, then you can do that thing as well.
Yeah. No, I have a different plan, but I just wondered how that would come into.
Yeah, basically these 2 cards are actually a little bit more valuable in your hand than not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But eventually at some point you're gonna want to be able to use. Oh, by the way, if your deck runs out, which usually happens in a game, you don't lose. Nothing bad happens. The only thing that does happen is that you can't interact with your deck anymore. So that means you can't reset cards anymore once your deck empties out. So there is a limit.
All right, well, I'm gonna do this.
All right. So he plays Blaze here.
Yep.
And Blaze has the says add +1 to all your rolls this turn. So all your cards basically have +1 right now.
Okay, so I think first thing I want to do is attack Rhodalexian with Blaze.
Yep. So it'll be 2 versus 2, but well, actually 3 because you have a +1 to your roll, so you're gonna be a 3 versus 2, and you have 2 dice because he has an advantage. Yep. So go ahead and click that 2 times. I think you're a little bit off. Gonna click it one more time.
Okay.
Why is it not doing it?
Oh, because I moved it off again.
Yeah. All right.
There we go.
All right. So you have a choice of
3. It looks like
2 and a 3, and then blue. You got to roll. So assuming you take the 3, you have a 6 total, and he only got 4. So Blaze would win that fight.
Okay. And then
so
one can still combat.
Yep. That was just his one attack. Both of these guys have the option to attack as well.
All right. Well, so then Sasha will attack same guy.
Yep.
Rhoda. So
there's no die advantage. There's no type advantage. So you would only roll 1 die each, but you have a 4 versus his 2.
+1.
And yeah, +1. So you have a 5 versus his 2. Okay. So you got a 9 total. He can't actually beat that with anything he rolls. Even if he rolls a 6, he would only get a 8. So that would put Radalexian to 0. So he gets killed. He's gonna go into the discard. So boom, 2 points there. And then blue, you would have to move a card up. Since there's only one option, it's Fade. Fade is forced to move up. Now, Grimblade has not attacked yet, so you can choose to do that if you wish. Although it seems like it's not a good idea because Fade has an advantage versus you. He has the die advantage, and their stats are tied otherwise.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold off on that.
Yep.
And then so now I could, if I want, I could switch guys.
You can switch guys. You can switch. You can. Oh, actually, you could. That's not a terrible idea. Yeah.
Switch. Dude. Put this guy up there.
Yep.
And this guy back over here.
Boom.
And that's that.
Yep. Now you have not reset a card from your hand this turn. Do you wish to do that?
That's kind of what I was looking at doing possibly here. Yes.
Yep.
Let me look and see what I would use. Nope, not that one. Obviously. Yeah, I would reset her. So basically, she just goes to the bottom of my deck.
Yep. Now, because she has a reset ability and you're triggering it, you do have to show it to your opponent. Normally, a reset from your hand, you don't show it, but in this case, you would show it because.
So I can move it over here and then flip it for him.
Yeah.
And get it over there. Come on. Flip it there. Move it to there.
Yeah.
Then hover and go flip.
All right. So did you see that card?
I'll see it.
I keep confusing who's who.
Joe's blue.
All right. So Joe, yeah, he's resetting Lixie here, which lets him select any card and play and remove 1 damage from it. Which is, I mean, you could heal Fade if you want, but I don't think he wants to do that. So I imagine you're gonna heal Grimblade here.
That'd be sort of silly. Yep, that's who I'd heal.
And then I'll help you here because this is a little. Okay. So she goes to the bottom of your deck.
Right.
If you can cycle through your deck fast enough, you'll get her back, and then you'll be able to do that again, which is kind of neat. That's the great thing about these cards with reset abilities is you can, you can cycle
draw
them.
2.
Right now, you'll be able to draw 2.
That was too quick. I'm gonna put those back.
I'll help you because you're using. I know you're using a laptop with that pad. It's a little bit harder to do it, so it's much easier with a mouse. So you have those 2 in your hand. All right, we go over to Joe's turn.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Oh, that's nice.
All right. So he plays Ninian Planor here, which has a play ability. You may, it's optional. You may place 1 damage on all other cards in play. This includes yours, by the way.
Oh, now the hunting thing is working.
Yeah, I will do that.
You're kind of a not nice guy.
All right, so other cards, and it's all other cards, so she does not affect herself. So Flayed will take a damage, and then each one of these guys goes ouch, ouch,
Just healed him.
ouch. He's been healed twice. He should have been dead already. So I think he's done
True.
exceedingly well. He's had some good support behind him. But Ninian is quite powerful. That's why she's a level 3. That's why she's a level 3. So she came in, blasted the whole battlefield, scorched earth strategy, and you can choose to attack if you want, or you know your options, I think.
Yep. I will attack with her. To please.
Alright, so she gets a.
I'm using my flank, so I get.
It's 3 versus a 2, but because you have advantage, you get 2 dice. So Joe, you'll get 2 dice to roll. Boom, boom, and 1 for the other. Ouch.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. So Ninian got a 9 versus his 6. Did he roll? What did he roll for? 6. So Ninian wins that battle. So Blaze takes a damage. He goes down to 1, clinging on, and is Fade doing anything?
Yeah. Fade is going to attack
Blaze.
All right. Now you do know he's getting 2 dice versus your 1.
Actually,
See here. Actually, he'd be
official to
attack.
this other guy. Grimblade.
Grimblade.
Oh yeah. He can do a flank attack versus him. It's 2 versus 2, but you get 2 dice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Ooh.
Was that a
What's
tie?
my ongoing power? What's my ongoing power with that guy? Extra damage.
Well, on a tie, you would deal 2 damage.
Oh.
But either way, it's a tie, right? If it's a tie, you're both taking damage anyway.
Okay.
Was it a tie? Wait, you rolled. If you take let's see. Red got a 5, so you got a 7 total. And Fade, you either take the 3 and lose, or you take the 5 and tie it, which means you will both take damage. And technically, Fade will get 2 damage because of Grimblade's ability, but he's already at 1 health, so he's gonna die either way. However, Joe, your entity could step in and avoid that if you wish.
Gonna step in.
But the way it's worded, when one of your cards receives damage and would be killed, you may move that damage to another of your cards instead. So you'd be receiving 2 damage. Do you want to move those 2 damage to Ninian, or just let it all go on Fade and he dies?
Well,
That's an interesting choice there. To either lose Fade now
I suppose
and
will probably die.
we'll just let him die.
yeah. Ordinarily, I agree with that. Otherwise, you'd have 2 cards at 1 health each, and I don't think that's good. All right. So Fade goes over there. Ninian will will have to shift up. And I think that's your attacks for the turn, right?
Yeah, that is.
Yes,
That's correct.
And then do you want to reset anything? And if not, just go ahead and
Yeah. So reset. You put 1 at the bottom of the deck, correct?
yeah. And while he draws up his new hand, you can go ahead and start your next turn, Tom. Tom has an interesting hand here. Before you do that, you may want to look at the stats of the card. I don't know if it's the most beneficial. Because remember the not just the type, but the number. So remember, you can only use the melee stat if you're in melee position. Otherwise, you'll have to use the other one. I mean, you still may want to do that. I'm not analyzing the thing. Just wanted to point that out to you before you put that out, that the numbers do matter. Often what I try to do when I'm trying to think of what card to play, I try to think of what I'm trying to accomplish on my turn. So like in this turn, you flung that card halfway across the table. Is that what you wanted to do? I don't know if you guys toggled off your mics. Sounds like you might have.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Alright, so you wanted to put Krizia?
There.
Now,
Tom,
you don't
want to make me angry.
You wouldn't like me when I'm
Like me when I'm angry.
As you can see, he has learned the ability to fling cards across the table.
I have. So what I still kind of want to do, because I don't want to play this one for sure. This one I think I do want to play. I'm going to move her out.
Now,
Figure out
just
how to do that.
Just to point out, this one here, that effect only happens when that first keyword happens.
Oh, hold on. Let me look again. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Makes more sense then.
very similar to another card, but because it triggers at a different time, that really changes it.
Yeah.
So it may not be
I'll
the
move
worst thing.
her
Especially right now, you're actually ahead.
I know. I'm aware. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so it puts Vara Wicca into play, who's similar to Ninian. She does 1 damage to all cards, but she only does that when she dies.
Yeah. So let's look here again.
Tom is about to find out what
the table's all about.
So I think we're going to attack with on Ninia.
Yep.
But I got
So you have an advantage and you have a higher stat. So that should be a pretty good attack for you.
So I rolled 2 dice.
2 dice.
Which I cannot read. There we go. A 3 and a 5.
So if you take the 5, that puts you at 9. Versus, well, he got a total of 5, so you would win that.
Yep.
So that'll be a damage to Ninian there. Did you get it? No, you missed.
Let's look here. Let me look over here.
So here you have an interesting choice. You have a slightly higher stat of 4 versus 3, but she will roll 2 dice versus you.
Yeah, I got that. So this one would be a 2, so that's not good at all. But we're gonna attack with Blaze, so I get 1 die, you get 2, right?
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Well, your first roll was a 4, so
No,
it should be an 8. Yeah, blue has
How'd I
2
roll a
dice.
3 there?
No. Your first roll was a 4. Your first roll was a 4.
That's the only one I.
You should have taken.
The only one I push.
All right, so you have so Blaze has an 8. What does Ninian have? Ninian has well, if she takes the 5, that puts her also at 8.
Yeah.
So they will both deal damage to each other.
Okay.
So Ninion's down to 1, but Blaze will go down to 0. That will put Blaze down here, and then either Sasha or Grimblade have to move up. Now, something I forgot to mention before you pick. Because we're still in your combat phase, if Sasha moves up, Vari will also have to move up.
Yeah.
Which means, because it's still the combat phase, Vari would also be able to attack if you wanted to.
Well,
Because now she suddenly is in a flank position. So she can attack if you want. Is it worth it? Nah. Well, I'll leave that decision to you. Again, Ninian has a type advantage, but you have a number advantage by 1. 4 versus a 3, but 1 die versus 2.
we're gonna take a shot.
All right.
So I'm
Makes
attacking.
sense since you're ahead. All right, Varia wins that by a lot. You got a 10 versus 6, I think. All right, so that means Ninian goes down, unfortunately. All right, he's at 7 points. It's looking grim, but it's not over. And I think technically Grimblade can attack because he hasn't attacked yet, but there's nothing to attack. So up to you if you want to do any resetting or.
Let me look here. Nope, not yet. I'm gonna just draw a card. Didn't do it. I'll try it again.
There you go. Now just drag it to your hand.
Drag it over there. Yep.
All right. We go over to Joe's turn. Joe's looking
Okay.
to.
All right, we'll just attack Sasha.
Yeah. 2 versus 2, but it's 2 dice versus 1.
So I rolled a 5. It looks like.
Oh, 2 4s. So Sasha would actually win that. Unfortunately.
No, that's not unfortunate.
Well,
That's excellent.
unfortunately for Project 13 there. All right. And he's just gonna draw. Okay.
Okay, so back to me.
Just for Joe, this one could have been a good play, but risky because if the card would have could survive, you could use this effect to basically nullify some damage and all that, if that makes sense.
Well,
I'll let you ponder that. All right, Tom, what are we doing? He
Move-
brings out
move her
Project
out.
14 into support position, where she likes to be.
Oh yeah, she likes to be there.
As you can see, she is a android sniper. All right, so who's
I'm
attacking
looking
what?
there. I think that we're gonna use.
You also have not done a switch this turn, so I don't know if
Yeah.
that's worth doing right now or not.
Right now it's probably not. I can't tell. 2 hit points there. We got 3 hit points there, but I think he has advantage on me. Both of my Sasha and my Varia, right? He has 2 dice to my 1.
No, Grimblade is good against green cards.
Okay, I can't tell what.
She is a green card.
Oh, okay.
Is
well then,
Grimblade
yeah,
supposed to be sitting at 0?
No, he should be at 1.
I thought he was at 1.
Yeah, he shouldn't be at 1.
Okay.
Something's
Yeah,
wrong
let's
with
do
something's wrong with the scripting, that it's not recognizing when he puts the cards. It's not remembering these numbers, because I don't remember him. Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Grimblade's supposed to be dead. He died on that tie with what card was it? With the
The
Radalexian.
last. I healed him.
Or No, remember he did 2 damage to Fade. He did 2 damage, but it was a tie.
Okay.
It was a tie. So Grimblade should be in your discard pile. That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Grimblade should be in your discard pile. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I missed it as well. Because there was a tie. They both had a tie. And he did 2 damage to Fade, who died. But Grimblade also died in that exchange, I believe. That's why he was at 0. And if I'm wrong, well, we'll chalk it up as practice game for you guys.
Well, we'll attack with Project 14 against Project 13.
I mean, I think you would have still
I
put
think
Project
you're
14
correct,
there
'cause you're
anyway.
the creator.
All right, so Project 14 is gonna attack. She's got a 4 versus 4, but you got your 2 dice.
Okay.
So imagine you take the 6, which puts you at 10.
I will definitely take the 6.
So Project 13 wants to roll a 6 for at least the tie. Does not get it. All right, so
Oh no, that's a 6.
no. All right, she's down to 1.
Let's look here.
Here they're totally
Okay.
even, so you're just rolling on the luck of the die.
That's what we're gonna do.
And same thing. Actually, no.
Which one?
Varia and versus Project 13 is just the luck of the die.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
All right,
That's
so
the
go
next
ahead.
attack.
So you're each gonna roll 1, and basically whoever rolls higher is gonna win. It was a tie, so they both take damage.
That's a 6 for me.
So they both take damage, but unfortunately that means Project 13 does go down. So now he's at 8. It's getting close. However, there's ways to come back.
Okay, so that's all the attacking I can do. So now I just draw up.
Yep, unless you want to reset something.
Let me look. I might want to do that. We'll see. Nope, because that doesn't do me any good, and I think that's not a reset. I like that person there. I like him, but I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to draw a card.
All right. All right,
Yeah, I
we
did
go
that
to
all
Joe.
on my own.
Right, do you know how to do the search function of a deck? You can right click and if you right click and you get a menu and you can do the search from there. Wait. Not letting me do it, but I think you can do
I
it.
can't do it either. I don't think so, but...
Oh, because you only have 1 card in your deck, I think. That's why.
I show 2 in mine, but...
No, I'm telling Joe.
Oh,
Right, Joe,
sorry.
you only have 1 card left in your
See,
deck.
I've been murdered quite a bit in this game.
Yeah.
So
So search your deck for any 1 card and place it into your hand. Well, you only have 1 card. So that would put it into your hand.
She's kind of a creepy cheerleader.
Yeah.
you shut your mouth. I think Gale is going to go over to Varaya.
Ah.
Slap her.
So it'd be 4 versus 4, but oh, there's no type advantage or anything. It's just 4 versus 4.
Okay, so just flip a die.
I said that wrong. Sorry, I've got a type advantage against the one in front of me, don't I? Sasha.
Yes, versus Sasha you do, and Sasha's already hurt. So
That's the one I'd want to go after.
Oh, no, you said already. No, I'm just kidding.
although, just let me throw this out there real quick before you attack. It may not change what you want to do. Because you're behind, right? It may not, even
Whoa,
though you have
who
an
said I was
advantage, you got a numerical disadvantage overall in the game. Even though you have an advantage, it may be beneficial to not attack and not risk taking a damage, because your entity's ability works best when you have multiple characters in play to start sort of shifting around damage. So there may be a reason
Can
to
I
not
take his
attack.
cards prisoner?
No. Yes, when they're dead, they're basically you can imagine that they're in prison.
I don't know. I want to use them. I want to brainwash them. I want them on my side.
That may be in a future set. Just throwing out there that sometimes there are reasons to sort of hold back an attack. Usually, especially if you're in a situation like this where you have one card facing a lot, rather than risk taking damage on your turn, force the opponent to, use up their attacks to take them out. Because what you want to kind of do right now is you want to try to build back your board, especially if you can get.
He keeps killing my characters. It's making it difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this card here might have been good before. It's a toss up because if you could have put this card out here that I'm pointing at, and it would have survived, then you could have done that thing with it, and that would have put you in a pretty good spot. But that was also risky because if he died, that probably would have lost you the game anyway. So there's always a give and take. It's always a give and take.
If I put her out there, maybe I can get another one to the table.
Yeah. So basically, what you want to try to do is just try to get your cards to survive. So my advice is I wouldn't risk the attack, even though you should win. I'm more of the mind of like, let him just use up his attacks trying to kill it, and hopefully you win one or two of those.
Since you're
the creator, you can make him lose, right?
No, I won't do that. I can't do that. Now, mind you, just
no
just for Joe to know, because your deck is empty, you won't be able to do this anymore. So that's an unfortunate side effect of running out of your deck.
Yeah, I'm kind of hosed.
But it's not over yet. All right, so you can't reset anything right now. You can't switch, so I think you're pretty much done. So we'll go to Tom. What's Tom gonna do?
All right, let me look back down here again.
He was going to pass the turn. I don't know what that all was about.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that is technically an option.
Well, I'm going to move her up into here.
All right, he puts Krizia, who's a very good card. She can only be attacked once per turn. Makes her very good to being up in melee.
So I was just going to say, now, can I switch before I have combat?
Yes.
So I want to switch that. Oop, come on now. There. Come on. Get over there.
So you can imagine it's much easier to do all of this with physical cards.
Okay, and how do I order this game? Because I want this game now. Because I'm winning, that helps.
Right, well, we're doing the crowd sale. Yeah, yeah. If you're winning it, love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's just one that's the best. So I'm going to attack.
Don't worry. After we're done, I will totally direct him where he needs to go.
Yeah, I think that means something different, Tam. So I'm going to attack Krizia. He's going to attack Gale.
All right. Now Gale does have a type advantage here.
Yep.
So, but you have a number advantage. You have a 4 versus 2. But Gale will have 2 dice. So this will be interesting. Let's see. Alright, Krizia gets a 9 though, which is really good. Gale only gets a 6, I believe. So
no, that was a 41.
41. Alright. Gale takes a damage. Alright, now Sasha and Varia have attacks available if they wish.
Oh, but we're gonna use Project 14 though.
14. Yep. So she's gonna use her combo ability to make a flank attack to any position. So she can do a 4 versus 4. But Gale is green, so you have 2 dice. Yeah.
There you go.
That seems like a good idea.
Not on the dice thing. Let me try it again. There we go. Oh, still not there.
Just a little off. Yeah.
It was 1, is it? I gotta do another one, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, both of them were 4, so you have a 8 versus what? Versus 10. Did Gale just get 10?
Oh, she did.
She did. All right, so
yes.
Project 14 will take the damage.
All right.
Now, see how this is breaking the rules. So normally your cards over here can't be attacked, but because you initiated the attack, you try to shoot her down with your sniper rifle. But Gale has wind powers. She has like a tornado happening behind her there, so she used that to like fling some projectiles back at you and pinged you. So Gale,
I believe her exact phrase was "Nuh-uh."
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh. All right, so then
That totally fits. All right, so Sasha and Varia still have attacks available this turn if they choose to do so.
I think Varia attack. That's straight up, if I remember right.
Yes.
So just 1 die each.
Yep. So a 7 versus Gale got a 10 again, so Varia loses.
God. Wow.
Oh no, you didn't.
You're starting to tick me off a little. All right. Oh, and then so I could what do you got for hit points left on there? I want to.
He's at 2 still.
You.
So
I just want to end you.
No, I'm kind of curious. Have you learned your lesson yet?
I have. So we're gonna just draw a card. I don't think there's anything. Well, let me look here.
Sasha could attack if she wants.
I
It's
think
another
we'll hold off
straight
on
up
that.
though.
Yep.
No,
so we're
no,
just gonna-
I'm lying. Gale has the die advantage there. She has 2 dice.
Yeah,
4 versus 4, 2 dice, so it's not good for you. But
Nope,
you can.
So we're just gonna do. No, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything I wanted to reset. So.
All right. So, and then now your deck just ran out, so no more resetting for you. Okay.
I knew what this card was though.
It's unfortunate it came just too late. All right. So,
it
so kind of future lesson, you know that if you have this card in your deck, you want to try to actively.
I want to try and get it set up so it can reset.
You want to be resetting very often.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you have? You should not have. No, you shouldn't be drawing
'cause
this
it
one right
pulled
now.
2 cards. Pulled 2 cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why does
yeah.
it do that? That's weird.
Oh, I know what happened because if you click and drag too slowly, you pull the whole deck. That's what's happening.
Okay, so that's what I knew.
So now you know which one's on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah.
So all right.
So now I can do that. Yeah.
All right, but Joe is doing some machinations over here. He put Vandal Yakenzo into play. Is he gonna switch? That's a possibility.
I am gonna switch.
All right, so he's got Vandal and Melee there. Vandal's unique, well, not that unique, but there are some cards that you can see he's equally good in melee or flank.
How do you search your discard pile?
If you right click on it, and then the menu comes up, and then you can click the search button, and that lets you see all the cards that are in that deck.
Yeah, I'm not getting that menu thing. Hover over it, right?
Yeah, hover over it, and then with the right click button.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Oh.
All right, man.
Well, because it's a discard pile, you can move the cards out if you wish.
Oh,
Just
okay.
to,
Like,
you know.
yeah. All right.
I was gonna attack Sasha.
All right. Oh, Sasha. All right. He has advantage versus yep. So it's a 3 versus 4, but 2 dice versus 1.
I'm rolling.
So yeah, you're rolling 1 for Sasha. And Vandal has a 7 versus a 6, so he will win that. Unless you want the tie. I don't think you want the tie. Sasha's down to 1 health. He wants to win.
You take the tie.
All right, now does Gale want to do an attack somewhere? Technically, Gale has an advantage, I think, versus Chrysia. I don't think you want to kill I don't think you want Gale to kill Varia because Varia will explode.
Right. I was looking at that.
Tom wants her to explode, but
Yeah, it'd be fine with me.
Is
it one and one die? Or
so if Gale attacks Chrysia, it would be a 4 versus 2, but Gale would have 2 dice versus 1. So yeah, so Gale should beat Chrysia in an attack. The odds are the odds are heavily in your favor. 2 dice plus a higher stat, but it's not guaranteed. Chrysia got a 6 and Gale got an 8 on just 1 die. Alright, so Gale got an 8. 8 versus 6, so Chrysia will take a damage. Boom. Gale's wind powers are much better than Chrysia's martial arts. Alright, yeah, I don't think there's much else you can do. You already did a switch your turn, you can't reset anymore, so there we go. Alright, we go over to Tom.
I'm going to look in my discard pile for a second, see if there's anything I might want to draw back out of there.
Yeah, because Lilith has...
Because I got...
For some reason, the game is actually almost not registering you as sitting in that chair. That's why you're having all these little issues. Something about the scripting is a little off.
Well, I can look at them this way.
There's only 2 cards in there, yeah, so you can...
Yeah. There we go. Let me look and see what they are. I think I'm going to actually do this, though. I'm going to switch out this one.
Really? That's a level 3.
Well, yeah. Let me look here. Don't double check.
Yeah.
Look here.
I mean, you could look at this another way. Your goal right now is you want to try to kill Vandal this turn. Yeah, because well, you need 3 health to kill him. Alright, because he's full health. But if you kill him, you win the game because that'll put Joe to 11.
Well,
so that's one way to sort of look at your decision making this turn. Because killing Gale, even though she's lower, it's only 1 point, which puts him at 9. That doesn't win you the game. If you can take out Vandal this turn...
But what I'm thinking...
Or just kill them both over the course of several turns. Is the other way to look at it.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide. Let me look at her.
And although one reason to chuck that card is because her ability right now is not super useful because because cards can't be reset right now because the decks are empty. Well, his deck is empty, so he can't reset it. So you would only get the first part of that effect and not the second.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Is just to.
Although you could do that to yourself too. By the way, you can do that effect on yourself.
Okay.
I don't know if you really want to, but you can.
No, I don't want to. Let me look at some of the things. Well, let me look. I'm gonna put these. See, I like that idea. This is something I could do. See, I think I am gonna do this. I'm gonna use Lilith's ability. Whoa, what happened there?
What happened?
I'm shrinking. Something's shrinking.
I think it was
See, I hate freaking touchpads.
Yeah, probably touch. All right, I just helped you out and put the card back in your hand. So, did you want to chuck Florilia?
Let me hold on. Let me see it again. Oops.
I just want to point out that Tom did shrinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Must be cold.
It is. It's a little chilly.
It's the phrase that every woman wants to hear.
Oh. This is the one I think I wanted to get. The one I'm hovering over right here.
Yeah. All right. So you wanna discard. You wanna use a little bit to discard that. All right. So he's gonna discard
and then
Mythia there, and he's gonna resurrect Blaze.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I want to resurrect.
So take
And
that,
then I'll
put that in your
put
hand.
Blaze out and I'll put Blaze out into support position. So I'll do that here in a second.
I'll help you there. I know it's hard with the touchpad there. All right. So now, and he should be at 3 health. So now Blaze just gave all your cards +1 for this entire
I think
turn.
our first wrong thing. We're gonna attack with Project 14.
All right.
To,
She does get
Yando.
advantage.
Yando.
Yep, so you get 2 dice.
Six and a 5 with +1 because of the baseball boy.
Yeah. All right. So I think Vandal loses that. He'll take a damage.
So that's.
Thematically, I imagine it that Blaze is using his fire. He has firepower, so he's using his fire powers to imbue everybody with some fire damage to their attacks.
There you go. So we got.
So she sniped him with a flaming bullet. So that was Project 14 attacked. She had him, and then who else wants to attack?
And Krizia is gonna. That's straight up, isn't it? Krizia versus.
No. Vandal has an advantage here.
Okay.
He has a type advantage. So he has
This
2
one's straight up,
dice. Yep,
Vari
because they're
is
both green
straight up.
type. Actually, Vari has a slight advantage. She has a 4 versus his 3.
Right. So and then +1 because the baseball boy. So.
+1, yeah. Oh,
So I'll
sure.
do
So
that.
it's
That'll
5
be the
versus
next-
3 plus and then 1 die. So you got 7, but unfortunately Vandal only got a 5, so Vandal will also take a damage there.
And then let me look over here. We got Sasha with 4 on the flank, but I think the advantage is that.
But he has the
goes
advantage,
to-
correct?
Yeah, but we got some numbers. We got the +1 again, so we're gonna do that attack now. That'd be.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it's 4.
Sasha.
It's a 5 versus 3, technically, yeah.
So
But
Sasha
Vandal's gonna get
attacking.
2 dice. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, we're okay with that.
Yep. Ooh. You only got a 6
Oops,
though.
that was kind of sucky.
And Vandal got a 9. So Vandal fights her off and actually kills Sasha here. So that kills off Sasha.
Baseball boy's gonna move
Put in
up.
there. But baseball boy, Blaze, moves up. And technically he can attack if you wish him to. Did Krizzy attack?
That's pretty straight up, isn't
Yeah,
it?
she attacked first, I think. If Blaze goes to attack, it's no type advantage, and it'd be a 2 versus a 3. So Vandal has a
+1
slight advantage here. Oh no, it'd be tie. Yeah, it'd be
+1.
luck of the die. Yeah, it'd be luck
So
of
we're
the
doing
die.
that.
Here.
So yeah, what the hell? We'll go that way.
Makes
We're gonna end this
sense.
thing.
He gets it.
I did it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's 9
Yep.
versus 9. And then technically the rest of your turn actually happens, but you can just simply say, hey, I end my turn. That's when points are checked, and 11 versus 5.
so that worked. I like this game.
So there's
I have mentioned in the past on podcasts that I do tend to like that I win.
yeah. So as you can see, there is a fair amount of just luck with the dice, but you can kind of choose when you do that. You know,
You can manipulate. You can manipulate your odds.
You have some options, and then sometimes you can throw caution. Like here, when you're ahead, you can sort of throw caution to the wind and say, whatever, I'm gonna take the not so great odds because I'm a little bit ahead. And for Joe, he had some it's not as much of a landslide as it may feel, because some of these cards, if he could have gotten, he unfortunately got this card way too late in the game. Had he had gotten Brick earlier in the game, this would have really, combined with the Fallen Angel, this would have made it really tough for you to take out his cards.
That would have been.
So I think in a future game, had you if you had Joe known about that he had brick in his deck, he might have tried to reset cards aggressively to try to get it up earlier. But this is like any card game, there's some experience to be had before you learn all the little nuances. But yeah, there was plenty of, well, not plenty, but this deck that Joe had definitely had some tools in it to kind of come back from the commanding presence you had. But you did play smartly and you had some luck on your side. So
I had a lot of luck, but I mean, I can start seeing how, with knowing what you have in your, doing the reset thing can be real big.
Yeah, it's very huge. The other thing was you did have, now as you can see, healing in this game there's not a whole lot of cards that heal, and you happen to have 2 of them in your deck, which was really good. I think the sniper helped me out quite a bit. Yep. Yeah, having 4 cards, because normally most games you're only gonna have 3 cards that are able to attack. So having 4 being able to attack is a nice advantage. Unfortunately, you had a good presence that it was hard for Joe to be able to focus on trying to take out Project 14 because he was just trying to stay alive.
Well, I think Project 14 thematically took out Project 13. That was kind of cool.
Which is, and that's in the story.
That's
if
what
you look at the flavor text, she was there to take her. She was created just to take her out. So that's the game. I mean, any questions?
No, I'm gonna have to look into the crowdfunding thing and
Yep. So we have the crowd sale going on right now. The more people that buy the game, the lower the price becomes for everybody. So as you buy the game now, but you don't get charged until the sale ends. And when the sale ends, it's gonna tally up how many people there are, and then everybody's gonna get a discount. We're closing in on everybody being able to get a 10% discount, but the discounts can get all the way up to 33% off. So we're hoping to reach that goal, and hopefully people watching this took something away and maybe want to back it.
What's the base on the game? The base price?
It's $24.99, so it's $25.
Okay.
But it's
nice.
1 box set that 4 players can play right out of the box. All we played here was a 2-player game, which is what most people will probably play, but you can play 4 players versus each other right out of the box. So 1 box set will serve most gaming groups. And as you can see, you don't have to worry about building decks because you're going to draft your deck pretty quickly, put it together. Now, this game took long because you guys are learning it and all that, and we're farting around with the tabletop simulator controls, but it does play very quickly. Most games, once you know the game, you can play a game in 15 minutes pretty easily. And I think that's all I got. Anything else you guys want to add or ask?
Joe's not on the mic, but he's talking about the mat. That was actually going to be the next thing I was going to ask you about.
Yes, in the crowd. Yep, in the crowdfunding there is a game mat. It looks very similar to this. It's got a red versus blue motif. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to show it on screen right now, but there is a game mat that is available that people can get through the crowd sale, and the game mat has its own discounts as well. So the more people that buy the game mat, the more discounts people get for that. It's the same price as the game. It starts at $24.99, but again, we can get it's something like, I think we can get like a 30% discount off of that if enough people buy it. So we're pushing to get as many people to back it as possible so that everybody gets those discounts.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to going onto the website and looking at what I need to do to get the game. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Joe. And we'll definitely be doing this again.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, man.